Okay, we move on with part two of our press conference, and joining us now we have Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz of Toro Rosso and Marcus Ericsson of Sauber. Pierre, we'll start with you. The moment has finally come. You make your Formula One debut. You've had to be patient, but how does it feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing, honestly. Starting my first Formula One race this weekend is just a dream coming true for me. I worked really hard these past few years to make it happen, and it's true I had to be patient, but yeah, it's worth it. I'm just so excited and really looking forward to this weekend.
So is it your expectation, understanding that this is a prelude to racing a full season next year in 2018, and what are the plans around trying to finish off and win the Super Formula Series this year?
It's a really good question. At the moment, I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. So I'm just fully focusing on the weekend, trying to do my best, learn as quickly as possible. It's a great opportunity for me to start next to Carlos, who is on top of his game at the moment. So really good benchmark for me. And yeah, we'll try to learn as quickly as possible, focus on the weekend, and then we will see what's going to happen in the next few weeks a bit later.
Okay. Marcus, coming to you, you've obviously got very strong connections at Sauber, but how does that square with all the initiatives going on around the junior Ferrari drivers? Where does it all leave you?
Yeah, nothing is done at the moment for me, so yeah, I need to keep pushing and do good the last couple of races now to show that I deserve to be in F1 next year. So it's important for me now, even though we are struggling a bit as a team to keep up with other guys. It's still very important races for me, so yeah, big push needed.
Now, the strategy of obviously using the year-old Ferrari engines is clearly beginning to hurt now. Everyone else is making the real progress. So what are you working on at the moment in terms of finding performance?
Yeah, like you say, with the old power unit, it's always going to be difficult towards the second half of the season. And now we really see that last couple of races that we've been lacking quite a lot compared to the competition. So it's tough, but we need to still as a team keep pushing and keep motivated and do the best we can to maximize the performance. And we can be crazy races like in Singapore. It was an opportunity when it was, a lot of things happening with the rain there. So it's these type of circumstances that can play into our hand. And here in Malaysia as well, the weather can really play a big part. And then we need to be there to maximize and try and take the opportunities. So I think that's the important thing, to keep the motivation high and, keep pushing as a team.
Okay, thank you. And Carlos, obviously a career best finish in Singapore on the weekend that your new deal with Renault was confirmed. What part did that good news play in the race outcome, do you think?
Yeah, it was a great weekend all around, no? First with the news on Friday, then with Q3 on Saturday, fourth place on Sunday. Probably one of my best weekends in Formula One for sure. Didn't really affect me, to be honest. I did everything that I've done this year. It just happened to be my best result in Formula One, which is, on the other hand, quite nice to do it on that exact same weekend, no? But yeah, very proud of it. We did celebrate a bit on Sunday, but at the same time, from Monday onwards, I was watching videos of previous years in Malaysia, and I turned page pretty quickly.
You're only 7 points, I think it is now, behind Williams in the battle for fifth in the Constructors' Championship. So with the recent form of both teams and the tracks coming up, do you think it's possible to finish ahead of them?
I think we have our chances, but we will need to work hard, very hard, to achieve it. And we'll need to be doing things really right on Sundays. We know that our pace at the moment is not the fastest of the midfield, but we also know that on Sundays we have our little chances to score extra points, and we need to make sure that whenever there's a chance, like in Singapore, to score big points, we do it, because that's what makes the difference in the midfield, no? When you have a race that you can score a lot of points. So hopefully together with Pierre we can achieve that target. Also keeping an eye on Renault, McLaren behind us in the championship, that are definitely starting to come very strong towards the end of the season.
Okay, let's throw it open to the floor. Who's got the first question for us this afternoon, please? Give us your name and publication.
Fred Ferrer, L'Équipe, question to Carlos. You know Pierre for a long time. What are your thoughts on him as a teammate, and what kind of advice could you give him?
Well, first of all, congratulate him, no? Because I remember back to my first Formula One race in 2015. It was a very special day, very special weekend. I think he deserves his chance in Formula One. He's done everything right to be here. And I'm also sure Red Bull wouldn't put anyone into a car that is not capable of being in the pace straight away and scoring points and helping the team. No? So extremely happy for him. I've raced with him in World Series. I know how fast he is. I know the big talent he is. So very happy for him.
Manuel Francoas, his question for Carlos. For second time, you will not be in Free Practice 1 in this Grand Prix. What's your opinion about it? Is it a problem for you?
Let's say I'm not the happiest man now, knowing that I will miss for the second consecutive time the Free Practice 1. Obviously, Singapore it turned out to be good because we still managed to get into Q3 and P4, but in a tougher weekend like Malaysia that I expect to be, I will have some work to do on FP2 and FP3, but yeah, hopefully like in Singapore we can do our best and come back strong like we did there.
Dieter Rankin, Racing Lines. Pierre Esteban Ocon told us a delightful story about how he got into motorsport by testing his go-kart for the very first time. If you could expand on that, and also how you felt when you saw him get into Formula One, whether you ever felt that you were going to lose out because it took you a bit longer to get here eventually.
Yeah, it's a pretty long story with Esteban, and I think we know each other since we are six years old. So we are living more or less in the same place, and we kind of grew up together in karting. So I mean, I was happy for him, when he got his opportunity in F1. I was with first with the Gravity program, and then after with Mercedes, and then he had the opportunity after, like during his DTM season, I think, to go with Manor. So I mean, yeah, it's great for him, but we were in different programs, and I was with Red Bull, and I had to wait a bit longer for my opportunity. But no, I never really compared my little career so far with this one, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, Jerome Pugmire, Associated Press. Question for Pierre. Possibly next season, you could have 4 French drivers on the grid. How great is this for you and for French racing? You could be up against Leclerc and Grosjean, and how good would that be?
Yeah, it will be amazing for French people, Also with the French GP coming back on the calendar, I think it's a great opportunity for us as a French drivers, and yeah, it will be amazing to be all together racing in Formula One. I remember 2005, I think in karting we raced together with Esteban and Charles in mini kart. So yeah, to imagine that we might be racing all together again in Formula One is something special. But no, I think it's good to have many French drivers, especially next year in 2018 with the French GP.
Is Livio Rico, Sport.com, to Pierre. Pierre, how do you handle this situation? You have 2 Grand Prix. You probably must do something to prove or to show at least potential to be in Formula One. You are very young. It's not so simple to handle this situation, at least emotionally. Technically, maybe it's easier.
At the moment, I don't know how many races I'm going to do in F1, so there is nothing confirmed. So team told me to focus on this weekend, try to do my best. I've been competitive in lower series. I've won the Euro Cup in 2 liters, finished second behind Carlos in 3.5. I won the GP2, then we sent me in Japan this year. Then I'm fighting for the championship with 1 race to go. So, I mean, the pace will come. I think Formula One is brand new for me. It will be my first GP, but there is no real target. Of course, I'm here to learn as quickly as possible and to perform perform with the team. But at the moment, I think I need to take each session at a time, learn as quickly as possible next to Carlos, and then we will see where we are. But for me, I take it. I'm really excited about it. I've been dreaming about this weekend so many times, and it's finally happening. So I'm just excited. I'm also a big competitor, so of course I want to do well, but then also need to be objective. Coming with six races to go, for me, there will be many things to learn, and I'm just gonna try to do my best to learn as quickly as possible.
Quick one for Pierre. When did you actually find out that you would be racing this weekend? Because we only found out this week. And sorry, it's Daniel Hicks from AFP. I didn't identify myself. And also, how difficult is it to prepare when you have such short notice that you're going to be racing?
Well, of course, I knew there were things going on with Red Bull, but I didn't know exactly what. And then I traveled from Japan on Monday. I was racing last weekend in Super Formula in Sugo, and then I traveled from Tokyo on Monday to Malaysia. And then when I got here, I received a text saying that I might be driving this weekend. So I got really excited about it. Of course, tried to sleep Monday night, even though it was a bit difficult with all the excitement. And then Tuesday morning, I had the confirmation.
Steph Hart, Zero Zone News. This question is for Pierre. You're living the dream now. You're here, and you're doing this on the last Malaysian Grand Prix. What are your thoughts and feelings on that? And to Carlos and Marcus, what are your thoughts on this final Malaysian Grand Prix this weekend?
Yeah, for me, as you say, I'm living the dream at the moment. It's pretty hectic since Tuesday. Everything's going on, and no, I'm just really excited about this last race. For me, I think for sure this weekend I will remember for the rest of my life. When you have such a dream coming true, to do it on the last Malaysian GP, I don't know if we're gonna come back one day, probably on this track, but for sure it's a moment that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, it's a bit sad seeing Malaysia go. I think it's a track that's have a good mix of everything, and also there's been some really good races here in the past, I think, in Formula One. So yeah, in that way, I think it's a bit sad seeing it go.
From my side, I rate the Malaysian Grand Prix very highly. It's probably one of the best track layouts we get to race in the whole year, with the fast corners and high grip tarmac like last year. On top of that, it's the most physically demanding track, or one of the most physically demanding, which makes it also quite special and quite a challenge for us. So to miss it, yes, we will definitely miss it, and never say never. It can always come back, hopefully.
Joan Pagama, Associated Press. A question for Carlos and for Pierre. Obviously, you've got the drive, Pierre, but Daniel Kvyat is, being kind of, moved aside. Do you feel sorry for him at all, or is there any room for this kind of feeling in Formula One? That's to both of you.
You want me to answer that one first, yeah? Let's say that in the middle of a season, when you are so focused on your driving in 2017, you cannot really be affected by what goes on in the other side of the garage. I've switched teammates in Formula One a few times now, and I've remained focused on my own job, trying not to think what goes on the other side, also because with Red Bull, it just works like that, no? And you need to be ready for that. I haven't had the chance to speak with Danny yet, because I've been focused on this weekend, but I'm sure I will.
And Pierre?
And for me, I didn't have the chance to talk with him yet, but of course, unfortunately, that's how it works in this sport, and I think he's been in my position before he came to F1. He was waiting for his chance, and then he had to take the seat of someone else. So Of course, I feel sorry for him. I think he's a really good driver, talented, and then unfortunately it's happening, and I'm gonna take his seat. But I'm pretty sure we will see him back on the grid at some point, maybe, and we will see what's gonna happen in the near future.
Any more? Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good luck in this